I recently had a birthday and I received a really awesome gift from my studio. It is this Circle of Fifths tool. And I thought it would be a great idea to show you how a tool like this works and how you can use it for your own composing, learning chords, and learning to play in chord charts and improvisation as well. So one of the most important things that you need to learn in order to do all of those things that I listed is to learn all of the different chords on the piano. That can be intimidating, it can be scary, and it is really hard at first to understand which chords go in the correct keys. So a tool like this is going to be perfect for you. This is not a sponsored video. However, I will link this product in the description box below if you'd like to purchase it. The cool thing is you don't actually need a tool exactly like this, although this is fancy and works really well, and I'm excited to use it in my studio. You could just use a paper one that you find online, or you can look up several different apps. I'm also going to link a couple of websites where you can find a free Circle of Fifths to use. We are going through the Circle of Fifths in my studio and on this channel, playing through all of the different keys on the piano so that we don't just get stuck in C major, which is where everyone starts. Again, C major is a great key to start in because it's all white keys. You don't have to worry about any of the different black notes on the piano. However, it does limit your ability to do all of the things that I listed. I'm going to show this tool to you close up and show you exactly how it works and show you the different chords on the piano. And it's going to make playing chords so much easier. So come over and let me show you. Okay, let's discuss what the Circle of Fifths actually is. So if we start on the key of C major, which are all of the white notes between C and C, that's where I always like to start because there are 0 sharps and flats, which are the black notes. So if we go up a perfect fifth, we start on C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get to the key of G. That's where we add 1 sharp. Our sharp is F sharp, so here is the key of G scale. And then from G, if we go up another fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're at the key of D. Now we have 2 sharps. I'll go here. We have F sharp and C sharp. And this will continue on all the way through every single key, black and white, in the entire piano. So from D, we go to A. From A, we go to E. From E, we go to B, and so forth. And that's where those letters come from on the Circle of Fifths very bottom, where it shows the different keys all the way around. So this is the Circle of Fifths tool. This is movable along here. And but remember, you don't have to have something fancy like this. You can literally just find a paper one online, and there are several different apps as well where you can see a Circle of Fifths that you can have. But for mine, I have a movable section, and I'll show you about what that is in a minute. But first of all, let's look at what all of these letters are on here. So this first row, and I put it here so that the C was here first. But the first row goes around in fifths like I was showing you on the piano so that you can see all of the different keys here. And it's kind of hard to see, but if I zoom in just a little bit, you can see how there are little tiny sharps or flats listed on the very bottom there. So for the key of C, there's nothing because there are no sharps and flats. We go to the key of G and we can see 1 sharp and then 2 sharps all the way around. And it shows you the sharps and the flats. When we get to a letter like this one, this is G sharp and A flat. That's because on the piano, a G sharp and an A flat are the same thing. They're called enharmonics of one another. So you would be reading it in sharps or flats depending on the piece of music. Now let's talk about how we make chords in each of the individual keys. So we're going to start in C major again. And I want you to think of every single note in C major as a number. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 would be back to 1. But now that they all have a number, we're going to make a chord with the bottom note being each of the beginning numbers. So for the key of C, we're going to build a triad. A triad is 3 notes that form a chord together. So the way that we make a triad is we start on the note C, and we're going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3. We get to an E. And then from C, we're going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's a G. Adding them all together, that is a stacked chord. So that is a 1 chord, a C major. That is the middle of the shape that we're looking at on the circle of fifths. So then we're going to keep this same shape, and we're going to create chords all the way up the scale. Now remember, in the key of C, there are no black notes, so we can just stay right on the white notes and not have to worry about it. So the 2 chord is here. That is a D minor, because a 2 is always minor. The next chord is an E minor. 3 is always minor. Then we go up to a 4 chord, which is F major. That is a major. 4 is always major. And then we go up to a 5 chord. That is also major, a G major, G, B, D. Then we're up to our 6 chord, which is minor, A minor. And then we're going to go to the 7th chord, which is the one different chord in all of these. It is not major or minor. It is actually diminished. And we'll talk about that in a second, what that means. And then we are at 1 again. Okay? So the order of chords is very important in any major key. So the 1 will always be major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished, and then we're back to 1. Make sure to check out my video on how to make any major or minor chord, and that will be linked below. So for a major chord, to make it minor, you take the 3rd, and then you lower it by a half step. So any major chord, to make it minor, lower the 3rd by a half step. But to make a minor chord diminished, we then also lower the 5th, which is on top. So that's where that B comes from. We have B, D, and F. So a B major is actually B, D sharp, F sharp. We make it minor, B, D, F sharp, and then we lower the 5th on top and make it an F. So the B, D, F is a diminished, and that is our 7th. And that is what is at the very top of our circle of fifths. I'm going to now move this plastic part to the top so that you can see it kind of outlines what we're going to look at. Not only do the letters here talk about the different keys that things are in, but they can also represent chords. So what we do is we take this section and we put the middle in the key that we are playing in. So in the key of C, there are no sharps and flats, and that is our key. That is also our 1 chord. If we go counterclockwise 1, or to the left 1, we get to an F. An F is the 4 chord. That's the major chord, the major 4 in the key of C. The 5 chord is 1 to the right, or clockwise. So the 3 major chords in the key of C are C, F, and G. If we go up to the 2nd level, we're up to our minor chords. So now we have the minor chords of D minor, E minor, and A minor. So this is the 2, the 3, and the 6 of the key of C. And then we have at the top row, that little tiny round O means diminished, and that is the 7th chord, the B diminished. So you could figure all of this out without this wheel, but if you have the wheel, it helps you to be able to see it quickly. So this concept of the numbers of the scale becoming different chords and being major or minor applies to any major scale in the entire piano. So if we do, let's look at a flat chord right now. So we're going to look at the key of F major. F major has 1 flat, which is B flat. So let's play an F major scale, and I'm going to count out the numbers because that's how we're going to build our chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1. So our 1 chord is major, our 2 chord is minor, 3 chord is minor, 4 chord is major, 5 chord is major, 6 chord is minor, And then we have our diminished 7, and then we're back to 1. We have the key of F major, the 3 major chords in F major, the 4 chord is B flat, the 1 chord is F, the 5 chord is C. And then we move to the second row. G minor is the 2, A minor is the 3, and the 6 is the D minor. And then our top level, E diminished, is the 7 chord. So you could use a tool like this to be able to look quickly and figure out what each of the chords are. And it will help you to be able to locate them quickly on the piano as long as you know the different keys. And again, the keys are also listed right there, though they are very small. Let's look at one more sharp key. We're going to do a key that not a lot of people love because there are 5 sharps, but it's not scary. The key of B major has 5 sharps. So the only white notes that we're going to be playing is a B and an E. All right, so we have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and then we're hitting a B and an E as our white notes. So here's the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1. All right, so using those chord numbers, we can then build our chords. So here's a 1 chord major, 2 chord minor, 3 chord minor, 4 chord major, 5 chord major, 6 chord minor, 7 chord diminished, and then lastly our 1. So if we look at our circle of fifths, we see that the B major chord is in the middle, that's the number 1. To the left of it is our 4 chord, which is E major. To the right is a 5 chord, which is F sharp major. And then the next row up, we have our minor chords. We have our 2, which is C sharp minor. We have our 3, which is D sharp minor. And then our 6, which is G sharp minor. And then finally that leads us to our top row, which is A sharp diminished. And that is our 7. I hope that better explains the circle of fifths and how to use a tool like this in order to help your composition, your chord playing, improvisation, and chord charts. So good luck, keep practicing. Don't worry if it takes a little bit of time at first, because it is a little bit hard to get familiar with the different chords. But once you do, you're going to thank yourself for all the practice that you've put in. Make sure to check out my other video on how to make chords, major and minor, using whole steps and half steps. Using whole steps and half steps, you can literally make any chord on the entire piano. So check it out, it's linked below. Also, thank you so much for 500 subscribers. I'm halfway to my goal of 1,000 subscribers and getting monetized. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting the subscribe button and liking this video. It really supports my channel. Thank you so much.